Okay, chapter 2. The nature of the soul's power, defining the elements where both positive and undesirable qualities are found. So let me read one more time. The nature of the soul's powers, so we just finished with elements, right? Defining the elements where both positive and undesirable qualities are found. Okay. So again, the big topic is character development. Know that there are obstacles. Know that the observance of the Torah directives or rebellion against them involves only two of the soul's elements: the elements that govern sensation and the elements that govern stimulation. All of the mitzvahs and all of the transgression concerning these two elements. Wow. So let's read one more time, try to explain. Know that the observance of the Torah directives and rebellion against them. So there are only two modes, right? So person cannot be semi-religious, right? He's religious or not religious, right? And so it's following the Torah directives and or rebellion against. Involve only two of the soul's elements. Okay, one, the element that governs sensation, as we discussed, right? And as we discussed last time, and the element that governs stimulation. So stimulation is something like that you are attracted or you want to stay away from it. All of the mitzvahs that and all of the transgression concern these two elements. Okay, not others. So because why? Because by this holy soul, like the godly soul, this part, it wants to do only what HaShem wants. But these two parts is more on on sensation level. Continue. With regard to the elements that govern nutrients and elements that govern imagination, there are no concept of observance or rebellion. For thought and will do not affect them at all. Okay. A person cannot willfully stop or limit these activities, as reflected by the fact that, in a contrast to the soul's order or other potentials, these two elements that govern nutrition and govern imagination are activities during sleep. Wow. Okay, let's read one more time and we're going line by line, try to understand. With regard to the elements that govern nutritions and elements that govern imaginations, there is no concept of the observance or rebellion. Nutrition, right? It's your soul, like that part of the blood, right? No nutrition, so that there is no rebellion, right? Because so all even like when person is desiring to eat not kosher food, it does not come from this soul, right? It comes from different part of the soul that governs the sensation, and that's a different part, right? Okay. And the elements govern imagination. Okay. Okay. There is no concept of observance of rebellion, so they neutral. Okay. For though they will not, For thought and will do not affect them at all. Thought and will. Okay. A person cannot willfully stop or limit these activities. Okay. As reflected by the fact that they contrast the soul's other potentials are two elements that govern nutrition and that govern imagination activities during the sleep. So we need to see what is going on during the sleep. So imagination, of course, it's one of this power of the soul that in a sleep, that person can imagine different things, whatever they saw during the day, or whatever they imagine, I don't know, even from other worlds, or they would see things like unnatural things, right? So that's when this part of the soul is very active. Continue. With regard to the elements that govern the conceptualization, there is a confusion as to whether or not the concept of a mitzvah or a sin applies. Okay. I maintain that it is possible to identify areas where the concept of the observance and rebellion, for example, a belief in defecting idea or the belief in a true idea, apply. There is, however, no need to associate with this element that one can refer to as a mitzvah or a sin. Therefore, I have stated above that the aspect of sin and the mitzvah apply only with regard to the two categories mentioned. So let's read it again and try to explain. Very deep, very, very deep. Okay, so one more time. With regard to the elements that govern conceptualization, right? That you can derive some concepts, whether positive or negative, so you can understand things, right? There is confusion as to whether or not the concept of the mitzvah or a sin applies. Concept of the mitzvah or sin. So a person, meaning a person did not do anything yet, but in his mind, that's what he wants to do, right? Or does not want to do. I maintain that it is possible to identify areas where the concept of the observance and rebellion, for example, the belief of the defective idea, belief in defective idea, or belief in a true idea apply. So it's hard to understand, but okay, so let's continue. There is, however, no deed associated with this element, so it's not, it's only in our imagination, right? That one can refer to the mitzvah or a sin. So even though it's sometimes there is expression and people will say there is a sinful thought, right? It is true, there is such an expression, but a person cannot be held accountable for a thought. So if this thought did not materialize, there is no problem. I mean, after the fact. But if it materializes, the person is going to be guilty. Therefore, I have stated above that the aspect of the sin and the mitzvah apply only with regard to the two categories mentioned. Okay, so Baruch Hashem.